Hi everybody, my name is Stevie B. I'm a recovered alcoholic and a member of the Golden Text group of Alcoholics Anonymous in Dania, Florida. You know, in between picking up the medallions, you know, I was hoping we were going to get to hear, you know, some of the stories, you know, and I realized it's not so much important as we know the stories as you guys know the stories. And, you know, just the little story of Zach's family on what he had to just go through, and his wife and his mom, and that he's still sober and still standing. And to know a little bit of the stories of each one of them, and whether you guys come back next week, which would be beautiful. But the stories that we get to live through in Alcoholics Anonymous, and that our tests become our testimonies. And it almost, I know why we did it, and I definitely appreciate why we did it. But I want you to know, if you're new, as you continue to stay here, there's going to be people that go along this journey with you. And as you work these steps and have a spiritual awakening, you're going to get to experience what everybody is experiencing right now, which is right now, I'm telling you, what's going on right now in this room is there's a seriousness in here because we want to hear how the people did it. You know, we want to live that journey with them. And as we spent the last 9 weeks getting to here, which is step 10, continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admit it. Those of us that have been here any length of time realize that without a step 10, there's no peace. I mean, step 10 is really, I mean, every step is incredibly important. But step 10 is how you stay sane. Step 10 is how you stay married. Peter knows. Step 10 is how you stay employed. Step 10 is how you stay in friendships. Step 10 is how you stay in relationships. Step 10 is how you stay in right relationship with God. Step 10 is how you live in the moment, not expecting anything except living in the step. And then if you don't live in this step, then you create a whole bunch of new wreckage in your present, and then you have to go back to a lot of other steps. Let me explain what I mean. I wasn't saying, Marion, that Peter needs to know more than you. Every married couple needs to live in step 10. Every married couple. Every close relationship. Our relationship. We're not married, but we fight sometimes like we are. And in that relationship, there's a step 10. Most of the steps point back to the Bible. Most of them are biblical. They're taking back from the Bible. Don't be offended by it. I'm just giving you the history of the steps. Rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. This is the path that the founders were doing before they had the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. They had the Bible and other books like the Bible. And if you want to know a little bit more about that, it's all written down in Dr. Bob and the Good Old Timers, which is all AA conference approved literature. And this step goes back to Matthew 5. This step goes back to that if you have something with your brother or sister and you're asking something from God, the Bible says to leave your gift at the altar, go back and settle with your brother and sister, and then you can come back and ask it from God. This is where this exact place where this step comes from. Because if we're not living in right footing in the moment with our brothers and sisters, then we're not living in the right moment with our Creator. Because our Creator wants us to be happy, joyous, and free, and living that way with each other. So in step 10, and by the way, the 12 and 12, which is the next book that they wrote after the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, it describes step 10, I think, amazingly. Where's Bob Davis? Wouldn't you agree? I mean, I think it gives an incredible description on the different types of inventories. And I'm kind of I'm kind of a professional step tenor. There's a lot of things that I feel like Peter, you guys know, is a mentor to me, very, very much so, a mentor sponsor to me, and as well as Russell. But I personally think I'm better at step 10 than he is. I just personally do. Because I have a lot more practice in step 10 than Peter does, because I'm step 10ing all during the day. I am making a lot of mistakes. I don't know if anybody can relate to that, but I am like constantly getting in my own way. Can you raise your hand if you get in your, I get in my own way a lot. And I think step 10 is this place where as you get in your own way and you realize you're not going to be able to get out of your own way unless you promptly admit it, this is something you don't want to carry to tomorrow. The Bible says don't let your anger go, don't let the sun go down on your anger. Like, don't take it into tomorrow. Where they came up with the word promptly is today. Like immediately. Like maybe even faster than today. Like right now. Sometimes as the words are coming out of my mouth, I see step 10 written all over. As they're coming out of my mouth, I'm like, that's a step 10 right now. That's about to happen right now. We were praying outside, and one of the guys, George, a nice guy, we're praying together, and I just said something about his outfit, like in the moment. I was like, the Sopranos called and they want their outfit back, George. We were praying. I realized that's a step 10. I just, right now, that's a step 10. That just happened as we were praying. And if that happens to you a lot, that's called an instant or spot check inventory. That's in the moment inventory. And the 12 and 12 says, so if you're here still, George, I apologize that you wore that outfit, to be honest with you. Although all inventories are alike in principle, the time factor does distinguish one from the other. So here's weren't you guys going to pick up medallions? The couple, don't you guys have the same sobriety date? What happened? Where's your medallions? Did we forget your medallions?
I got 218.
We got 218s.
Can you do it right now?
They got sober on the same. Oh, and also Eddie from Key Largo. Eddie Cox is 29 years today. Eddie Cox, Key Largo. Eddie C. Is he on today? Congratulations, Eddie C. Love you so much. We have a husband and wife that got sober on the same day 28 years ago. 18 years ago. Seems like 28. And that's a miracle. Tomorrow. Can we, it's Matt, right?
Teresa.
Matt and Teresa, 28, 18 years. That's 22.
Yeah.
Son. We're going to find them. By the way, congratulations. That's a big deal. Matt and Teresa, do you think step 10 is important in your relationship? Absolutely. Every happy, what's that?
I'm better than you.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. Step 10 is an integral part of a happy relationship of any type. Employer, romantic friendship. Come on up and pick this up. So if you're new and you're not really sure what we're talking about apologizing. We're talking about promptly admitting you're wrong. If you're anything like me, where I'm from, the worst thing to do is admit you're wrong. Like, I didn't grow up in a family, like we're like, heavy generations of Jews and Italians. Like it's like known that you don't admit when you're wrong. like even if you're caught in the middle of it, you deflect. So it's not like I grew up like my grandfather JC would, and he would be caught, or even in the act of throwing a potato at my grandmother across the table, and even like admit that he was. It's not like I had any mentors or people in my life that I respected that actually showed me how it was to be humble with the word wrong. Even our generation, we had people like the Fonz who couldn't even say the word wrong. He would say, I was ooh, like that. Like we grew up in an era where nobody said they were wrong. It was like this. You'd point, like this. Like I'm not wrong. I was made to do it. And it turns out that lack of humility is the beginning of a relapse. Whether it's, I'm not saying it's just a physical relapse, but it's a mental relapse. It's a spiritual relapse, which absolutely can become a physical relapse. Some of you know that in my first sobriety, I had 7 years, really like 2 years of good sobriety and like 5 years of sobriety. And I was never wrong. I was always a professional victim. And victims never recover. I didn't have people like I have in my life today that showed me that even my mom is a great example of, with all the years she's been in recovery, 47 years of recovery, that on any given day to say that I was wrong, please forgive me, is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. To have your mom here, Zach, to have your mom 41 years, 41 I think, 40, right? 41, it's incredible, right? And I'm sure you've seen your mom over the years take that act of humility, please forgive me. And the 12 and 12 shows us, and also the big book shows that there's the end of the day inventory, which there's great inventory lists, and we're going to go through some of that right now. And then there's the spot check inventory. But on page 89 of the 12 and 12, it says, although all inventories are alike in principle, the time factor does distinguish one from another. There's the spot check inventory taken at any time of the day. You feel like agita, you feel like something's going on. You said something, you did something wrong. There's something that you have a dis-ease. And so you do an image. Why am I feeling dis-ease? Why am I feeling uncomfortable? Why am I feeling like there should be something set right? And you do a spot check inventory. A lot of times when I'm feeling like there's something wrong with me, it's because I did something wrong to you. I'm in a partnership with an alcoholic where my partner's here. We have constantly had a difference of opinion many different times. And a lot of times it's not him, it's me. And I have to take a spot check inventory and say to him, listen, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. And he knows I've said it a million times because I have been wrong as many times as I've said it. And every time I do that, every time I go to make wrong in the moment what I've done wrong, every time I go to make right what I've done wrong in the moment, there is an instantaneous sense of relief that I'm doing God's will. Because what's in my nature is to deflect. What's in my nature to say, that's my nature, right? That's the inner self of me is to say, well, because of what you did, I acted that way. And there's no humility in that. Then that's when I go back to victim mode. Victimese. I start speaking victimese. Like, you know what victimese is? It's a language where like, I did this because you caused it. That's victimese. There's no responsibility in that. So there's the one that we take a look at the day's end. That's the end of the day inventory, where we review the happenings of the hours just past. Here we cast up a balance sheet, crediting ourselves with things well done and chalking up debits where due. Was I selfish? Was I dishonest? Was I self-seeking? Do I owe someone a amends? Going through all that. And there's a lot of times when I go to the end of the day, I'm not pleased. I am not pleased with myself. But that's where I take the bat away and I take the pen out. Put the bat away of beating myself up and put the pen to paper on who I need to make amends to and how to set it right immediately. The time I came out of my neck to Sheldon, I did not text him an apology. I said to the apology immediately. I called him back, maybe even on the same phone call, and said, I apologize for my anger because there was no reason for that, and then I take responsibility for that. And right now, as I said that, I don't have anything that's going on inside me that feels like I have to make more amends to him because it was done in the moment. I'm not taking that stuff into tomorrow. I got enough stuff to worry about tomorrow. I'm hoping not to create any more nonsense tomorrow, but my pattern as be there is going to be some nonsense that's coming tomorrow. You seem very happy about that. That's good. Then there are those occasions when alone or in the company of a sponsor or spiritual advisor where you're sitting in front of somebody that you really respect and you say, this is what's going on in me now. You know, when the question is like, how are you? That general question, how are you? If you ask that to someone in AA and that's someone you respect, you should expect you're going to get a real answer. Well, how are you? I'm lustful. I'm worried. I'm fearful. I have lack of faith. I'm thinking about myself too much. That's the general inventory process. But when it comes to when wrong, promptly admitting it, the only thing that counts, and I said this last week, the only thing that counts is thoroughness and directness. Many of us also like the experience of an occasional retreat from the outside world where we can quiet down for an undisturbed day or so of self-overhaul or meditation. Go to retreat. Retreats are good. Okay? And that doesn't mean you have to go to a retreat, an AA retreat, although that's awesome. My friend Dan, I know I always quote him and stuff. I'm not going to do that tonight. But he takes a retreat a lot. He goes to the beach. He gets out a book. He gets out a Thomas Merton book or one of the books of, one of these great authors and thinkers. And he retreats from the day of the battle of the day. And during that time, we could see where we're at. Brian, you do that too. Brian, you have 4 years? Brian is also a president that thinks of a lot of times of reflecting with great authors. I know because he sends me that. I'm not making a joke. Great authors. There's a time for you to say, where am I in my process? Where am I in my process? Life is not a dress rehearsal. We're not looking to get to the next event. We're not looking to get to the next day. God gives us enough blessings and enough challenges in today. Today is the 29th of May. In the 29th of May, there's enough that we can reflect on, that we can make right, that we could do better tomorrow, that we can take a look at today, as long as we're not rushing through the day to get to tomorrow. I couldn't wait to come here tonight. I have to take off my jacket just for a second. I'm sitting in places that I didn't even know I had. If you're not Jewish, that means sweating all over the place. Someone said to me last week, are you going to give us more examples of the ninth step? The ninth step is when we went back and we made right things that we did wrong in the past. And I thought we did a pretty good job of it last week, but someone said, could you give us exact examples? I've had great experiences going back into the past and making right, and I've had experiences that were less than great. But every one of the experiences was great for my recovery. Some taught me how to go back, like the times I've winged it and didn't make appointments with people. That's a bad experience. Like show up at their work. Hey, man, remember the time I hit you with a 2x4? I'm here to apologize. No, that didn't go over well. Okay? Remember that time I stole your ring that cannot be replaced? Well, I'm sorry. Without going with an idea on how to make reparations or financial amends to them with a payment plan and a payment process. Those are ninth step amends that did not go well. Then there's other ninth step amends that went well, where I've made appointments with people, I've sat down with them, and I had every intention to make things right. And a lot of times I did. My slate is pretty well clean. I think Peter has taught me that he goes back over the work every year. I think Bob said the same thing. They go back over the work to make sure if there's anything new. I want to tell you, and now this is not a joke, I believe I set right a lot of actions that I do wrong in the day within 2 days, that there's not a lot of fourth and fifth step that I have to go back to, because I really do a lot of inventory in my present recovery. Whether it's in the moment, whether it's in the hour, whether it's at the end of the day, whether it's with the inventory list, I really believe in the inventory list, because I'm not here to please you, I'm here to please God. And if I'm here to please God, God wants me to go settle with my brother and sister. He doesn't want me to create new wreckage in the present. But if I do create new wreckage in the present, because I'm a human being having I'm a human being having a what is that, a spiritual, whatever that thing is, I'm a human being. How am I going to fix something I did 5 minutes ago? 10th step. I don't want to love the 10th step. It's not something I set out to love, but I'm just really proficient at it. And what I mean by that is there's nobody inside this room, not one person inside this room today that I know of, that I have not attempted in the present to go back and make right. It is the spiritual axiom. What does that mean? It's a spiritual truth that every time we are disturbed, it's the other person's fault. That's the way I grew up. Like I'm having a bad day because you suck. That doesn't fly in Alcoholics Anonymous. It doesn't fly in the house of God. It doesn't fly in a spiritual program. Every time I am disturbed, it's because there's something that needs to be changed in me. Page 417 of the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, or 449, or the last one, is anytime that I find some person, place, or thing unacceptable to me, it's not so much that what needs to be changed in that person, place, or thing, but what needs to be changed in me. And then the 12 and 12 follows us up on page 90 and says it's a spiritual axiom that every time we are disturbed, no matter what the cause. I hate that every time, Russell. The reason I don't call Russell is because anytime I've called to complain to him, he does this lawyer trick, and it's always my fault. I'm like, someone just pulled me, just hit me, knocked me off the side of the road. I'm in a ditch. He says, you have a car? I go, I need to go to the hospital. This guy just pulled me, he goes, You're going to go to the hospital. You know, he just keeps pointing out things that are positive in the situation that is totally negative. Because the truth of the matter is, everything that is happening is not happening against me, but it's actually happening for me. Every lesson that I've ever learned, everything that's ever happened, my alcoholism, my drug addiction, being arrested, even being shot in the eye, every single thing that has ever happened, losing the child, being told that we couldn't adopt, getting to adopt, being here with you guys, relapsing at 7 years, being Baker acted 4 times in 1 year, every single situation, although I would not have chosen and I don't recommend it, has worked out in my favor. So it is a spiritual axiom that every time we are disturbed, no matter what the cause, there is something wrong with us. But at the time I told Russell, I said, when are we going to have fear of, when am I going to get fear of financial insecurities? I said, when am I going to have money? He says, no, that's not what it said. You're never going to have money, but you're not going to worry about it. If somebody hurts us and we are sore, we are in the wrong also, because we got sore over it. We are in total power over the outcome of our emotions. Isn't that amazing? Weren't we always victims? Like anything that ever happened, I was a victim. For years, I lived in Florida, And every time it would get to be this time of year, I would say something like this. It is hot. Is it not hot? Are you not feeling the heat? Finally, someone said, you chose to live in Florida. Stop whining about the heat. And I realized my type of victim mentality was right around this. But let's be honest, this month has been hot. Am I right? I mean, you know the truth. We never had a May like this ever. But other side of that, if you live in Florida, you don't get to complain about the heat because in January, you're not complaining about the cold. Once you start flipping the script once I start flipping the script on my victimese vocabulary, then I become in total power over the way I react to a situation. And then I cannot tell you how important, like Miss Jackie that just celebrated the 39 years. I'm blessed to be on her team and she's on my team. And I see how people act that have come before me, that lost a kidney, that they gave a kidney, that came to the meeting anyway, that lost a spouse, but came to the meeting and showed us how to do it with grace and dignity. I'm surrounded by people that have a life that's working, although their lives are not easy. And this is the spiritual axiom of the 10th step. Whenever there's something that is wrong with the situation, it's not, and that if I'm not handling right, it has nothing to do with the situation as much as it has to do with me. I'm traveling with a great man tonight in the car. I'm not going to say his name, and I'm not going to say his name, who has had cancer for the last 2 years. And he beats the cancer, and then the cancer comes back, and he beats the cancer, and the cancer comes. And I tell you, he has never, not even one time has there been a complaint or a whining. A surgery happens, he still shows up at the meeting and how's things? Staying positive. But not just fake positive. I'm talking about like real positive, not like real positive. Because I could be fake positive, you know what I mean? Oh, God bless you, you know. Me and I'm like, enough with the shares, you know what I mean? The inside. Are there no exceptions to this rule? Is there not justifiable anger? No, there's not. You want to get well? There's no justifiable anger. The Bible says that be angry, but sin not. When I quote the Bible, don't get upset. This is a place of wisdom. You can go to the Bible for wisdom. You don't even have to be a believer. There's an entire book called the Book of Proverbs. That's 31 days of the Book of Proverbs. You don't even have to be a believer in God. You can be a believer in wisdom and still get wisdom from it. But I go to the Bible because there is wisdom to it. Plus, it also helps me to get close to God. And one of the places that's in the book of Proverbs, which is the book of wisdom, which is the Jewish part of the Bible, tells me that it's okay to be angry, but don't sin over it. It's okay to be angry, but don't act out. It's okay to be angry, but don't use it as an excuse. It's okay to be angry, but don't use over it. If you go and pick up, don't tell us why you picked up. You picked up because you wanted to pick up. We know people in the program right now, our friends, we were just at a retreat with them, whose wife was horribly abducted, chopped up. They found her in a suitcase in the airport. He didn't pick up on her. I know another man from the 12-step house whose daughter was abducted. A terrible, terrible story. I'm very sorry to say it. And then she was murdered and raped, and he went to the prison and forgave the guy. I know another man by the name of Reverend Ed Newton. You know him too from the state next to Wisconsin, Iowa, who watched his father be murdered outside his room. The Reverend Ed Newton, he wasn't a reverend when he came into Alcoholics Anonymous. He was preaching about forgiveness. He realized at that moment that he didn't forgive the two men that killed his dad. He went to the prison, told the guy that was in the prison, I've been hating you the entire time you've been here. When you get out, you can come live with me. This is a true story. The man that that was involved with the murder of his dad, he came and lived with him for 5 years, rent-free. That year, after the man that lived with the Reverend Ed Newton, he died unexpectedly of a heart attack. He went to meet his maker free and clear. This entire program is about how free do you want to be. You want to do the program, have to do the program. If you don't want to chop wood and carry water, then don't. But if you want to chop wood and carry water, then expect the results. You get to leave the planet free and clear whenever the Lord calls you home, and then God says to you, well done, good and faithful servant. And that's what I'm shooting for. And that's what the 10th step says. The 10th step says it's not going to be easy. It's not in your nature. Humility is not in your nature. So go against your nature. Few people have been more victimized by resentments than we alcoholics. We're the king of resentments. You know, if you're around a newcomer any length of time, no disrespect to know, we love you. We were there with you. We were you. But you know when you're with newcomers, they're constantly talking about something. Whether it's the dishes in the sink, whether it's the person in their apartment, or it's the person, they constantly have a news report about what's going on parallel to their own life. Yeah. The big book says the grouch and the brainstorm are not for us. We're not supposed to be yapping about what's going on. That is the dubious luxury of people that don't have the disease that's trying to kill them. And there's no justifiable anger. You hear that? No justifiable anger. If you're walking around with justifiable anger right now, you're wrong. And now you're angry at me. You see how sick you are? What about the people that did heinous, unforgivable, horrific things to you? You get with your sponsor, you figure out a program of action, you get with these giants in the program, and even young people, they're going to tell you, pray for them. Pray for them. Pray for them. Why are we letting people that did things that are completely horrific to us, why are we still carrying those horrific events? Reliving them over and over and over again. They did stuff to us when we were 6, we're carrying them at 60. You have full power to not forget these things, but to let them go. A spot check inventory taken in the midst of such disturbances can be of very great help in quieting storming relationships. I'm not mentioning this because John's here, but we have been in so many altercations over the last 12 years. Peter's witnessed them, where we have like throwing over, because he's Greek and I'm Italian and we're both hot-headed, and we've like thrown desks at each other. And 2 minutes later, we're hugging each other. I'm sorry, I'm crying. I'm the crier in the relationship here. I'm crying. We figure that when we go out, we have grilled octopus at the restaurant, like half an hour later. Because we realize we cannot carry this. We cannot carry this. Carrying a resentment or a justified anger is an absolute recipe for whatever type of relapse that you're thinking about is the worst type of relapse. For me, any relapse, spiritually, mentally, and of course physically, would be totally unacceptable at this point. I'm not willing to have anybody occupy my peace and serenity. And in order to do that, I have to be willing to take the low road. People say that's the high road. I'm not sure what high road or low road is, but for me, it's the low road. I want to take the road less traveled. I want to take the road where my Lord and Savior took. I want to take the road of forgiving you no matter what and asking you to forgive me if you choose to. Now, this is what I saw happen. The man that it happened to, that he got his daughter attacked and all that stuff, this is a true story. I'm just saying, and you could say to me, you have no business telling the story, but he has given me the freedom to be able to say that. That man never relapsed. Other people in his family couldn't forgive, and they never were able to take a sober breath. The man that I mentioned to you about his wife being chopped up in there, he's still sober. We were just at a retreat with him. That's the choice. The choice is to carry things that you should never be carrying, which is God's responsibility to carry the things that you should not be carrying, or you continue to carry things that are not yours to carry. A spot check inventory taken in the midst of such disturbances can be of great help in quieting stormy emotions. Listen, not everybody throws desks at each other. Okay? Not everybody grew up where we grew up. right? Throwing a desk at where we're from is not really a big deal. Shooting someone is more of a big deal. How you handle that is where your program's at. Now, do I want to eventually get to the place where no desks are thrown? I do, right, Zach? We want to eventually get there. But as the desks are being thrown, at least I see as they're tumbling through the air, oh, that's going to need to be an amends. Yeah, that looks like weaponry. That's going to need to be amends. And you can guide yourself on how quickly you're willing to set things right with this inventory. And then this is the last thing I want to leave you. The quick inventory is aimed at our daily ups and downs. I have daily ups and downs all the time. All the time. Does that mean that I'm double-minded all the time? No, but it means that sometimes I'm prone to disturbances. And people they say, well, that's because we're alcoholic. I think it's because we're human. I think it's because we're human beings. And I think human beings, all human beings, even the ones that never act out the stuff, they still have disturbances going on that you can get rid of in the moment with humility. In all these situations, we need self-restraint, honest analysis of what is involved, a willingness to admit when the fault is ours, and an equal willingness to forgive when the fault is elsewhere. Let me share something with you. If you're not willing to forgive others, that's a form of spiritual hostage taking. You want everybody to forgive you, then they come and ask you for forgiveness, then you're like, I'm not going to. And I've done this. I got a friend that's in prison right now where I'm like, I don't want to talk to him. Because I've been doing this with him for 22 years. He's abused the relationship over and over and over and over again. But what am I saying to my Creator? I want you to forgive me over and over and over again, 7 times 77. But right now I'm not willing to forgive him. That's spiritual hostage taking. And then you're going to get yourself sick. We have to be willing to forgive all at all times if someone asks for forgiveness. And even if they haven't, it's not their job to ask for forgiveness. It's my job to give them forgiveness whether they want it or not. I know it seems like serious, but like wow, I didn't know this was AA. I thought this was only getting sober. No, it's not just getting sober. We come here for our drinking, right, Thomas? We come here for our drinking, and we stay for our thinking. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you to all the people that have said that stuff before. In every one of these situations, we need to not be discouraged when we fall into the error of our old ways. We're going to fall into, how long you been with yourself? Your whole life. Right, Lloyd? How long you been with your whole life? You come into AA, even if you have 32 years. Well, you had 25 other years with yourself. Or 55 other years with yourself. You've been with you a long time. That means you have been acting you a long time. And sometimes you is going to come out. I've seen the way some of you drive. You got like a Jesus fish on your back and you're like cutting people off, giving them the finger. And I go, well, there's another flying fish right there. Another flying fish. One unkind tirade or willful snap judgment can ruin our relationship with another person for a whole day or maybe a whole year or maybe forever. So hopefully you're going to get to a place where there's less commotion and more blessings. I love step 10. I could talk about step 10 for weeks. Not because I mess up all the time, but because God created me and I'm passionate. I'm passionate, right? We're passionate. And passionate people create disturbances. But passionate people also know when they're wrong to go back and make them right. And I'm so grateful to Bill and Bob that they were reading the Bible and that they saw that this was going to be an integral part, that we weren't going to be perfect, that progress, not perfection, was going to happen, that were going to be things that we were going to have fall on the wayside, and that we were going to need to make inventory in the moment, in the hour, in the day, in the quarter, in the nighttime, but we were going to need to make them right promptly. Otherwise, they're going to carry on and then create new mess. God bless you guys. I'll see you soon.